massive thank you to Hugh, Jason, Igor, Johnson and Harry for subscribing to the channel. If you want to be featured in these clips, make sure you subscribe down below. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 14 of Season 4 of the F1 22 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back here this weekend for the Belgian Grand Prix. If you missed out on the video that went live last week, of course, from Hungary, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Of course, there will be spoilers in just a moment, so that is your warning. Go check them out before we dive in to the race today. But quickly as well, I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you for the insane and continued support as we head into 2023. Of course, yeah, trying a few new tweaks with the editing on these videos that I really do hope you guys are enjoying as well. Of course, I sort of want to try, 2023, I feel like it's going to be a big year for the channel. So, if you're not already, please do make sure you get yourself subscribed as well for daily Formula 1 related content. So close to 100,000 of you on the channel. So yeah, it'd be greatly appreciated if you could help me get one step closer and of course sort of tick off that first goal of 2023. But yeah, championship wise though, of course the big battle's still going on between ourselves and George Russell, and that gap did come down. 37 points still as we head towards Belgium this weekend. George Russell had a bit of a nightmare at the Hungaroring, which allowed us to try and take an advantage over our teammate there. There's still a mega battle going on for P3 as well in the championship. Of course, constructors-wise, we are still 165 points clear there, so that one is looking fairly safe at this point of the championship. But yeah, heading back to Belgium though this weekend, of course, my favourite track in Formula 1. Hopefully it will deliver us a good result. Right, well, here we are then, back at Spa Francorchamps, Belgian Grand Prix circuit once again. Of course, there's still rumours that it might not continue past 2023. Of course, I'm very much looking forward though to going back to Belgium this year for the race. So, if you are going as well, let me know down in the comments below. And obviously, if you do see me when you're there, I know it's a very long time away still, but please do not feel afraid to say hello. But yeah, I love this place. Yes, I understand it hasn't given the best Formula 1 Grand Prix in recent years, but there's just a sense of magic around Spa. As we wind our way then back up towards the bus stop chicane, just try and cadence brake on the way in. Still be very careful actually of the front brakes on F1 22 now we've got all the upgrades done, but that is going to be a purple score, the perfect way to start. Oh, here we go then, it's time, get your guesses in. How far off the qualifying sim run are we going to be? Spa obviously is a long circuit, I reckon it's going to be 2.8 seconds. Often I've gone quite well around here in the past with the Delta, but I reckon 2.8 seconds slower than what the game thinks we should be able to do. Well, I never thought I'd say this, but as we head up towards the bus stop, we're only about a second off where I should be, and I'm quite happy with that. We're losing a lot of time actually still down the straights more than through the corners, which I guess is reassuring. But yeah, anyway, down in towards the bus stop chicane then, just trying to get used to, like I said, obviously the brake pressures and the bias this weekend, but out of the final corner, 1.2 seconds off, 1.3. If you said 1.3 seconds off, you earn a gold medal, and let's get into qualifying. Right, well here we are then, qualifying for the Belgian Grand Prix, and there is the threat of potential changeable conditions tomorrow in the race, so yeah, maybe it might have been worth just running a little bit more wing, but I think based on the qualifying times up to now, we are very quick through Sector 2, but certainly lacking a bit of pace in Sector 1 and Sector 3, so really got to try and make it count here. Of course, we have got 2 runs in Q3. We made it through Q1 on a set of mediums, on Q2 on a set of softs, so we're doing pretty well actually so far. But Charles Leclerc, Valtteri Bottas, George Russell seem to be the big 3 in contention for pole, and I'm hoping to join them as up through a Rouge Radion, completely pinned of course, but still always, I know I get through there when you hit the bumps, just that little raise in the heart rate. tell you what, AlphaTauri are looking very, very racy as we head out of the summer break. They're both cars into Q3. I think for the first time this season. I'm not suggesting they're going to be big threats in the second half of this championship, but they've got both cars into Q3. Neither Red Bull has made it through there, so a bit of a disaster for the Milton Keynes-based squad. But round in the final corner as banker laps go, this one's been a pretty good one as we head out of the final corner. 140.9? Okay, that was unexpected to say the least. It would appear, rather weirdly, that we are the only car going out for a final run here in Q3 for the Belgian Grand Prix, so we are on pole already. Guess it's now just a case of seeing whether we can improve and further cement it, but Bottas is going to join us then on the front row. I mean, the team have said it might rain, but it's still just overcast at the moment. Let's see if we can go even quicker. The answer to that is going to be no. I mean, yeah, we may as well just go all-out attack mode there, but I made a mistake into Lacombe. But it's pole position anyway, and we can roll down this hill backwards for as long as we like. What a weirdly anticlimactic end to qualifying.
Welcome along then to the Belgian Grand Prix, the race that gave us the maiden victory for the Jordan team back in 1998. And in the same team, the phenomenal debut of a young Michael Schumacher. There's always something special just around one of the many corners of this fan favourite circuit. Spa Francorchamps then, a historic 19-corner circuit with a lap distance of 4.35 miles. There's over 100 metres of elevation change here, and with long stretches of the lap spent flat out, a good top speed will be vital for success. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Mr. Monaco lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Ocon, George Russell and Leclerc, Joe, Oscar Piastri, Tsunoda and Théo Pourchaire, Latifi, Drugovich, Pierre Gasly, they've taken a grid penalty, and Albon, Ticktum, Magnussen, Mick Schumacher and Jehan Daruvala. Stroll, Ricciardo, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Perez and Robert Schwartzman. And now it's time to head down to the track. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Right, here we are then on the grid, ready for the Belgian Grand Prix, and again, another big opportunity to try and take points out of our teammate George Russell, but look at that weather. Things are going to get spicy this afternoon here from Belgium, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and go mediums to softs. That should mean that if the tyre life, obviously the tyre life should be fine, but if it gets wet slightly earlier, we can go straight from the mediums onto those softs. Or, if it doesn't, we're on soft tyres, ready for those changeable conditions. But, yeah, it's Belgium. Anything can happen around this circuit. We might be in for a classic today that potentially keeps this circuit on the F1 calendar as well. You guys always ask for my setup, so that's what I'm running this weekend if you want to pause it and have a quick look through those. Yeah, it's just what I use. I wouldn't recommend them actively. I just kind of set them up ready for a GP. But yeah, looking forward to this though. Looks like there is split strategies. Bottas on softs, Norris on softs, but Ocon joining me on the mediums. Right, we're heading around the final corner then. Just got to try and do a nice number 11s there as we head out of the bus stop and line up. We've actually started pole a few times around Belgium. It's probably actually my most successful circuit in terms of F1 22 on a Saturday, but lining up on the grid, absolutely perfect there on the grid. We've got two-time world champion Valtteri Bottas alongside me. We've got Lando Norris, who beat me as well in the British Grand Prix just a few weeks ago. So yeah, last two Grand Prix winners are right behind me, ready for the start of this GP. Esteban Ocon, George Russell as well. I'm sure they want to try and get a good result today as well. 5 red lights here for the Belgian Grand Prix. And it is lights out, and away we go. And as you would expect, starting on those harder tyres, not the best start in the world as we head down towards turn 1. Whoa, accidentally launched it back at the inside of Lando Norris there through the first corner, but we get away with it as Esteban Ocon and George Russell go side by side behind us, down in towards Eau Rouge and Radion. Please don't do anything silly, Ocon. Whoa, that got a bit sketchy there as we have to make sure we give him room on the exit as well. Always quite scary side by side, especially lap 1. When you don't quite know what the tyres are going to do. And look at the Alpine straight line speed there as we're going to try and cut into the slipstream behind our in front of our teammate George Russell there as Ocon absolutely parks the bus at the Lecombe chicane there as George Russell. Whoa, George is just going to barge me out off the corner there, desperate to try and make the move. And for the second weekend in a row then, we do go side by side with our teammate, but we're not going to back out of this one so easily. As we head down the hill, they're still side by side with George Russell as we head now down in towards the infamous Puon as Zhou Guanyu's trying to make it 3 wide. I'm going to have to back out. I could just tell there, Zhou Guanyu, just for that moment, I remembered what happened at Austria a few weekends ago when Bottas made it 3 wide in towards the penultimate corner there, and we had to back out of that one. Luckily, Zhou Guanyu doesn't get the run through the corner anyway, so we do hang on to P5, but not the best start in the world then to this Belgian Grand Prix. They're first down to 5th. I was understanding we were probably going to lose the place to Bottas and probably Norris off the launch there because of the harder tyres, but Ocon and George Russell both getting by as well has not done us any favours, but the car is clean, the car is intact, we know we've got good pace in it as well. We've got to try and come on strong later on in the afternoon. If we can try and stick within the DRS range of Russell and Ocon, that would probably come in handy. We're coming to the end of lap 2, just trying to make sure that we stay close enough to Ocon and George Russell. Luckily, we've broken out the DRS range of Zhou Guanyu behind, but Valtteri Bottas still under pressure from Lando Norris at the front of the field as Lando now sets new fast lap of the day. Of course, still perhaps a bit of a rivalry between these two. Had that phenomenal title battle back in Season 2 of this career mode, but it was Bottas that picked his teammate to the championship crown, and Lando Norris hasn't really had a fair championship run since then. Of course, Alpine, this is the first year they've really delivered a car with good potential, as yet now DRS, of course, has been enabled. We are going to be close behind Russell and Ocon, but nowhere near close enough. We're basically going to have to be on their gearbox to make anything happen. Yellow flag's out. Someone's got issues. It's Bottas! Valtteri Bottas out of the Belgian Grand Prix incredibly early on in this race. Whoa! I was a bit worried that George Russell was going to crash into him then, but Bottas out of the Belgian Grand Prix. They're on just lap 4, so maybe the worry that perhaps that McLaren was going to start launching a championship challenge again, as, well, literally gone up in smoke this weekend. But are we going to be close enough to George Russell to do anything this time round? You can see we'll still have the DRS off Ocon in front, but he's not really in the wheel tracks behind the Alpine car. They're using all the battery we possibly can, and we still can't get close enough this time round. But again, we are so strong through this middle sector. You see, we're able to launch the car onto the curbs. We know we've got the downforce that allow it to stick. I just thought maybe there we could try and have a run around the outside of Russell. That's definitely one of the corners where the AI are weak. I think it's Malmedy, but please don't hold me to that if I've got it wrong. But yeah, we need to try and move back past George. Of course, it won't be long, I wouldn't have thought, before the medium tyres and the soft tyres are even on pace either. Well, effectively now then, it is basically both Alpines versus both 2 and 2 Motorsport cars in the Belgian Grand Prix. Of course, Bottas now out of the picture. So yeah, probably the top 2 most competitive cars this season. Of course, we have generally had quite a big advantage over those Alpines, but they are in prime positions then. Of course, they have been bringing more and more upgrades in recent times as well. And, you know, maybe if we kind of trip over each other, they can try and snooker away a victory once again. Of course, Lando winning back at Silverstone. Ocon, I don't even know if Ocon's won a race this season, to be completely honest. I don't think he has he? Lando Norris has won a couple, Bottas has won one, but Esteban Ocon's still waiting for his first win of this series. Around the outside will go on our teammate George Russell there, somehow just finding the grip, finding the room. We've been talking about Esteban Ocon, and now he hasn't won a race this year, and I've just overtaken my big championship rival. Perhaps that's what I need to do, focus less on what I need to do, talk about random stuff. It apparently works. Right, but now we've got to see if we can try and get a run then on Esteban Ocon in this GP, lap 6 of 22, and we are starting to make a bit more forward progress once again, as Ocon, will he have enough pace in that Alpine as we get to the end of the Kemmel, straight to the inside we'll go. It's a big old lunge on Esteban Ocon there, but we've got the confidence in the car. Of course, the higher downforce as well means we can turn a bit more aggressively, and we are now back up to P2 then of the Belgian Grand Prix. Will that leave Ocon under pressure from our teammate George Russell? We have got a Lando Norris to try and catch. Or we did. Oh dearie me. As soon as we complete that move, we go for a pirouette in this race. We're going to re-emerge sat in about P7 there, but Oscar Piastri is going to be close by. I cannot believe I've just done that here at Belgium. Oh, we got more yellow flags out. I think this is a car behind us, though, with issues. This time round, I think... Oh, it's Oscar Piastri. Alpha Tower is such a solid start to the weekend for them. And now both Mercs are going to be up inside the points, but poor Oscar Piastri, he was running an absolute blinder up to now. George Russell already into the pits then by just the end of lap 7. It's quite a long way to go then on the medium tyres. Of course, Lando and George both on that strategy. Ocon and I both on the alternate. But yeah, we're going to gain 2 places again, as we are setting pretty competitive lap times still at the moment. Taking good time out of Pourchaire and Leclerc up the road. And hopefully now George is going to come out in some traffic as well, which should bring us close to him. But I cannot believe it's such a critical point of this championship. We cannot be making mistakes like that when I need to be gaining points on Russell every single weekend. Oh, more cars into the pits though at the end of lap 8 there. That's going to be Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc both peeling in. So once again, it is Théo Pourchaire that's able to extend his soft compound tyres further than most early on in a GP. But yeah, 8 seconds still behind Esteban Ocon. So I do want to start monitoring that gap. Because I definitely feel like we are still quicker than the Frenchman, but we've just got to try and keep it clean and tidy there, as Lando Norris is effectively now 6 seconds less than a pit stop in front of me. That's going to be a tall order to try and close in. Are we going to see Théo Pourchaire into the pit lane? Yes, we are, so luckily don't have to deal with trying to get around another car in this Grand Prix, but... Right, there we go then. So team saying there is still a rain ETA later on this afternoon. It is probably going to come after, well, we box onto mediums, but yeah, 10 seconds now ahead of George Russell in this Grand Prix, but we've just got to keep that gap coming down to Ocon as Lando Norris is closing in on myself. Oh, Esteban Ocon into the pits a lot earlier than I was expecting, and so he's probably going hards to the checkered flag, unless he believes on going over onto softs and then intermediates. But I'm not planning on boxing for at least another 2 laps here, as yep, Ocon onto hard tyres then to see him through to the checkered flag. Where is he going to come out in comparison to George Russell? He's going to be a little way back. But of course, yeah, later on then in the GP, we should be the quickest car on the circuit. Probably going to box the end of 14, that's the aim. So there we go, Mark still thinking rain will arrive before the end of the GP. Probably about 20 minutes worth more of racing. So yeah, it could be one of those Belgian Grand Prix in a reminiscent of 2008 perhaps, where though you saw that rain right towards the end that completely changes things, but... Or even like our F2 career mode, that was kind of mad, wasn't it? Just a few weeks ago, for those of you that tuned in, that race, yeah, was really weird when it came down to strategy, but we are going to box the end of this one, and we're going to hopefully be the fastest car on the circuit, as don't want to loop it around through there again. That tyre wear warning light has also just flashed up, so yeah, definitely these tyres are starting to give up the ghost. 8 laps on a set of softs doesn't seem too ridiculous, especially of course as we'll be on low fuel, but yeah, it's still going to be a big old push towards the end of the GP. I think we're going to come out behind Zhou Guanyu. We'll probably be just behind that little gaggle actually, so we're going to have to try and make some moves late on in the Belgian Grand Prix. Let's make sure we get the car slowed down nicely into the pits. 50 miles an hour on the dot. I thought I just made my second stupid error of the afternoon then, but yeah, we should be incredibly quick late on in the GP here. The big goal is to beat that man there. Of course, George Russell still heading out and running in a very solid position, but we are going to re-emerge, yep, just behind, well, just actually in a Red Bull sandwich. Not too sure what's happened to Perez today, where he's so far off the roster, but trying to get some temperature into those rears. 8 laps to go then of the Belgian Grand Prix. Now it's recovery time. But it hasn't taken us long before we've closed up to the back of this little gaggle of cars. Théo Pourchaire is going to be the first one on our hit list, but it kind of looks like we're in a similar story to last weekend, where I think the leader's too far out in front, but we're going to try and recover our way back to P2 as, yeah, definitely going to try and find a way around Théo. I mean, we are, all weekend long, we've been mega through this middle sector. Of course, now on softer tyres, fresher tyres, and everyone else around me as well. Should just be able to try and close up. I mean, look at that, practically pushing Théo Pourchaire along as we head out of Savalo, though. Are we going to be able to get a run up the hill in towards Blanchimont on our former teammate? We are going to get closer and closer and closer to the Frenchman, but not close enough to get a run done on the way in there. But Pourchaire actually blends the throttle slightly. Is he going to go defensive? Yes, in a word, and completely run himself way too deep into the apex there. Is that going to allow us to get a run off the corner on Théo Pourchaire? Surely it is. There is again. He's going to go defensive. New fast lap of the day. That should be locked in then for the bonus point. Around the outside through La Source then on Théo Pourchaire. You don't often see moves here, but we are going to be side by side as we head down the hill. This is brilliant battling between myself and our former teammate, but who is going to back out of this one? Round the outside we'll go over all the bumps and marbles, but we hang it between the white lines, and that is an audacious move around the outside of Théo Pourchaire, but he's going to come straight back at me as we'll go defensive up the Kemmel Straight. Just make sure that he can't do anything about it, and there we go, much later on the brakes there, around Théo Pourchaire in this Grand Prix. I mean, look at that immediately, the run. We get down the hill on Charles Leclerc around the outside of the Monegasque driver, and that's not the first time we pulled off a move there today. And there we go, P5 now ours. 2 places in half a lap. Zhou Guanyu, you're next. It's crazy to think, you know, where Bottas could have been in this GP still had he not had that engine failure, but we're all over the back of his McLaren teammate. Are we this time around going to be able to make a move into the bus stop? You can see Zhou Guanyu. Yep, he's going to try and sit defensive from me. No, he's not. Zhou Guanyu there just tries to cut me off, so you know what? We'll send it down the inside then of the Chinese driver, and now back up then into P4 of this Grand Prix. Another 43.1, new fastest lap of the day. Was not expecting that time round. Ocon, my arch nemesis, next, but George Russell with 5 laps to go, 6 seconds clear. And it has not taken us long before we're all over Esteban Ocon's gearbox. Still not sure why Alpine went medium hard this afternoon. I'm sure they'll be asking themselves that question back at base after the GP, but not quite going to be close enough on the way in to the final couple of turns. And honestly, with how quick that Alpine is down the straights, it might just be worth trying to make sure that we claim the DRS there as not the best run out of the final corner, but we can't afford to waste time behind him. 42.4 that time round. We are just getting quicker and quicker as 4 laps to go then of this Grand Prix, and we did take about 20% of the gap out of George Russell last time round, so this could be a last lap scrap between ourselves and our teammate, but we need to get past Esteban Ocon before we even think about that there, as we get a nice run out into the Kemmel Straight this time round. DRS enabled. Ocon's going to go defensive. Not the first time we've gone to wheel with the Frenchman, but surely we can get around the outside into the braking zone. Deep late on the brakes there. Just about keep it between the white lines. Don't spin off the corner of the exit of the corner either, Matt. And now we're back into the podium places. 4.4 behind George. But we are still giving it everything then with 2 laps to go with the Belgian Grand Prix. Still no rain, and that might be critical. There's the flash. With 2 laps to go with the Belgian Grand Prix. How heavy is it going to rain, and is it going to help us, or is it going to hinder us? The gap to George Russell, 2.6 seconds, and now, already, there's water droplets on the screen. This is going to be, I think, a lot of rain very, very quickly. And there we go, DRS has been disabled. So surely the game now thinks it's ready for intermediate conditions then. Are we going to see some gambles in towards the final lap here? This race could be turned on its head in an instant. Well, it's only taken half a lap and the track has basically turned into an ice skating rink. Is it worth gambling onto a set of the intermediate tyres into the final lap of this GP? I think we've just got to do whatever George Russell doesn't into the final lap of the Belgian Grand Prix. And this is exactly like 2008 so sketchy right in the dying stages of the Grand Prix. I'm going to set up the intermediates to go on the car. But, I mean, look at that. We're not losing horrendous speed down the straights, but if it's going to keep getting worse and worse, I think we've got to pit. I don't think it's worth staying out here. I think everyone is going to be so slow. George Russell stayed out, so yeah, we are going to gamble it. We're so far behind him in the championship. No. Oh, I've just got away with that. We haven't lost the front wing, but I've definitely lost a lot of time in the process. This is an absolute nightmare. Have I just bottled the Belgian Grand Prix, or are all those AI going to really struggle as well? Of course, we know they can just find grip, whatever the conditions, which is rather frustrating, so it was not really going to give us a fair fighting chance anyway. Hence why I think we've had to make this call and go the opposite direction. Then one more lap of the Belgian Grand Prix, and are we at very least going to recover back to where we were, or can we try and get a little bit more? Ayrton Senna always said you have to be on the right tyres at the right time, and it looks like Charles Leclerc's binned it. Charles Leclerc's looped it up Eau Rouge there, so that is already one car clearly struggling too much in the conditions, and Charles Leclerc's back on the road, but he's lost his front wing, so the AI, they're really struggling. We've just got to push like crazy on this final lap to see what we can get out of the car and out of this GP. Let's just have a look in the braking zone then. How much time do we take out of Zhou Guanyu? It's a second. It's a second in a single corner. This is not over. We have just got to push right the way to the checkered flag. Even if we recover back to where we were in P3, I will take it. But we had to gamble it, and look how much we're gaining. Just taking so much time out of Zhou Guanyu. It was definitely, I think, well, I don't think we've lost any places because of the decision we've made. We are still a few seconds behind those other cars, but look at how slow Zhou Guanyu's going. As we head down the hill, they've just got to be careful. For exactly that reason, the AI in changeable conditions tend to drive a little bit strangely. But I think we are definitely going to recover back to P3. But I'm not convinced we're going to have enough to try and get back to our teammate there. We've got to be careful that I don't bin it on this final lap. Clean around the outside of Théo Pourchaire there. George Russell still 10 seconds up the road, but Ocon just 2 seconds clear. It again is going to come down to a battle between myself and Esteban Ocon late on in the Belgian Grand Prix. That is not the line through Blanchimont. I might have forgot that it was raining, but are we going to get to him? Lando Norris, third race victory of the year for the Alpine driver, but are we going to get to his teammate? Zhou Guanyu's binned it behind us. Are we going to get Ocon up to the line? Yes, we are, and we recover P3.
Okay, good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
And with that, we wrap up yet another incredible Grand Prix weekend. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Here come today's winning drivers, and what a race this was. This is a team that knows success very well in F1, and they're just itching for even more. Congratulations to the Alpine team for their excellent win today. Let's have a look then at the driver's standings. That's a positive result for George Russell, who further solidifies his position at the top of the standings. Well, after an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Well, there was a lot of incredible driving out there today, but if I had to pick someone, it's got to be Sergio Perez. Fantastic driving.
Let's move on to the constructors. No change in the top spot then, but with today's points, their hold on that lead is getting weaker. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
Well, there we are then. We had to take that gamble on that final lap, and honestly, I think it probably was worth it there, because I think the AI would have absolutely swarmed me through the final lap of the Belgian Grand Prix there. But Lando Norris, 3rd win of the year for our fellow Brit. It's a British 1-2-3 there. I think it's the first time we've had that on F1 at 22. So, yeah, there we go. All 3 Brits on the podium. You can't complain about that one. Just a shame Dan Tickton, yeah, kind of ruining our record there down in P14, but he's doing everything he can in that Alfa Romeo car. 2 points lost to George Russell. That was not really the race result we would have wanted. Had I not made that mistake early on, I feel like, yeah, we definitely were going to be within a shout for the victory. But again, with the weather the way it changed late on, who knows what would have happened right in the dying stages of the Belgian Grand Prix there. Ocon P4 ahead of Pourchaire, Zhou Guanyu, Perez, Gasly, Leclerc and Tsunoda, and yet it was just Oscar Piastri and Bottas that didn't make it to the checkered flag. Means title-wise, 39 points the gap now opens up to. Lando Norris now with a bit of safety over those cars behind him as Ocon jumps Leclerc, Pourchaire jumps Perez in the little Red Bull battle that is continuing to rage on. No other movers, though, in the drivers' table. Constructors-wise, Alpine do make a bit of progress against us after this weekend, but still a 162-point lead with 8 races to go of the campaign. Effectively, we have to just score about 20 points between now, each race between now and the end of the season. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well, and we will be back very, very soon with more Formula 1 content. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.